When the PFA Premier League Team of the Year was announced this morning, not many of us were surprised that it consisted of mainly Manchester City and Liverpool players, except for one. And we're going to thank goodness for it, because at least it's given us a talking point. Ale Moreno here with me. Look at that man right there, Paul Pogba. He's lit up, at least he's lit up on this graphic, not so much on the big stage for Manchester United this season, Ale. A lot of people were saying that he's undeserving of this. What was your reaction?
He jumped out, and not because he was highlighted on a graphic. He just jumped out because he
is undeserving.
Yeah, I just find him to be a player that this season you can make a very strong argument that if you break the season into thirds, and one of those thirds was Mourinho. Well, he wasn't playing well then. 100% he was not playing well then. Solskjaer comes in. It's that second third of the season, and then
it's
like, Paul, you can play now.
Get in that World Cup, Paul.
I see. This is France's Paul. Oh, this is nice to see. That player, that version of Paul Pogba, belongs in this team that we're talking about. But then there is the last third of the season, and we haven't exactly seen Paul Pogba playing all that great. In fact, to some degree, you can equate and the downfall of Manchester United over the last 3 weeks or so, it almost goes hand in hand with the downfall of his playing. And it's not just pointing the finger at him, because obviously there are concerns and there are things about that team that simply would have you believe that this team is not good enough to really compete at the highest level. But he is symptomatic. He is the most polarizing player when you think of Manchester United. When you think of all the other players, 10 other players in that team, are they polarizing within their fan bases? Not a chance. Not a chance. They are beloved by everybody in their fan base. Paul Pogba I imagine, is not beloved by everybody in the Manchester United fan base, because you see what he can give you, and he shows you those flashes, but it doesn't happen consistently. And so at that point, you have to say, if this is about just 1/3 of the season, yes, he belongs in the team. If this is about the whole season, I don't think so.
Well, I always think it's curious, because, these things tend to come down to stats. So we're going to pull up Paul Pogba's stats so far for this season. And Ale, I know as a footballer yourself, retired or whatnot, you guys tend to laugh sometimes at stats. But look at his stats: 13 goals, 9 assists. So he's been directly involved in 22 goals for Manchester United this season. And that's actually better than some of his last campaigns playing for top 5 teams across Europe. Granted, 7 of those goals were penalties. So do you see how those stats could at least have made his case to get into this team?
No. You can only...
That's actually more than even Eden Hazard did.
Okay, fantastic.
But we'll get to Hazard in a second.
You can only imagine what Paul Pogba and the stats would look like if actually you have seen the best of him throughout the course of the season. Because here's the problem. And that's exactly the source of any frustration that you may have with Paul Pogba. He is a world-class talent. And because of that, he can put up those stats coming out of midfield. And so therefore, you'll say, well, those stats are excellent. His play has not been excellent throughout the whole season. And if you're going to be a team of the year, it's not the team of 2 months. It's not the team of 3 months. It's the team of the year. And I just haven't seen enough from Paul Pogba over the course of the year to then say and warrant that he should be in the team. I'll tell you this much. There's no chance that that team doesn't have Eden Hazard. I can make an argument that Eden Hazard is the best player in the Premier League, and he's not on the team. Come on now. I can make an argument for Christian Eriksen over Paul Pogba. Heck, I go as far, I'll go as far as making an argument for Declan Rice over Paul Pogba.
Wow.
In terms of the performance over the course of the season. Yeah. Now he's not going to score the goals. He's not going to have the same attention. Glory. He's not going to bring, and he's not with Manchester United. And so therefore, apparently we have to shoehorn a Manchester United player into the team, because otherwise, what could possibly happen? What could possibly go wrong?
Can you sympathize with him with the fact that he might not just be having the best personnel around him, the best teammates around him? Because we all know that it mainly is the problems around him that he's not able to, get the best out of him.
Hold on a second. It's his job to be good himself. He has to be good himself to start demanding from other players. You have to be good yourself. You have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I haven't been good enough this year. I have to do better. I have to perform at the highest potential that I can provide for this team, so that then I can demand that from others.
And to you, he's not even doing 80%.
Well, I'm saying that we have seen his best very few times during the season and for very short periods of time. His best is world class. His best doesn't show up all the time.
All right, we're going to leave it at that then. Thank you so much, Alejandro Moreno. And it's hard to disagree with
feels
that.
like it feels like you want him on the team. You want him on the team?
I do want Paul Pogba on the team. We know exactly what he can do when he's ready. But as you said, it's a team of the year.
Does he deserve to be in the team?
Consistency throughout the year. And at the moment, that's just not what we're seeing from the big man.
Oh, okay.